All right, let's face it. In high school, we all had that one English teacher. Well, that English teacher is me. I'm Brian Kulak, a career educator and author of The Hot Seat. Every week, I reconnect with former students, colleagues, and fascinating people to explore who they were, who they are now, and the wisdom they've gained along the way. Welcome to The Hot Seat. All right, guys, here comes Meg. Just a quick intro, everyone, to Megan. So Megan's class of 2014, which is rare air because that was my last year in the classroom at Audubon. So I ended my time there with this amazing group of kids, especially Meg and her friends, who I know I keep, most of them are hopping on now, which is great. We're going to talk about them a little bit later. It's also interesting because Meg is another high school sweetheart duo. We had Mickey and Julie on last week, and Meg and her husband Jake were high school sweethearts, both the class of 2014. But Meg and I go way back. She was an impeccable editor-in-chief of the Parrot, which maybe not a huge deal in her life compared to what you have going on now as a mom. But back then, it was a big deal to me to have someone I could trust like you every day to get the paper done the way it needed to be. So I think we kind of developed a really good friendship there, and then that kind of extended into after you graduated. I think you have one of the most amazing laughs of all time. When you get going, that laugh is, I don't know if I'm going to get you to do it tonight, but it is one of my favorite laughs I can remember from my time in the classroom. Your crew of girls also slipped in a very specific toy into a project that you guys did senior year. You're not going to get away with that. So now I've been waiting all this time to bring that up. I'm going to do it on this live so everybody in America can hear about what you guys did to me and embarrassed me so terribly. And yet I think I gave you a B. Yeah, Val. Yes. Yeah. Did I give you an A?
Yeah.
Oh my God. What a pushover. And now she's a mom of two amazing kids. So, a lot's changed for Meg since I saw you last in 2014 or so. So I'm just so glad you're here. I thought about you almost immediately when I started thinking about doing IG Lives. You're in the book, as you know, and if people read the book, they saw your entry as one of the class reunions. And I remember your answer as being so honest, and that was a really tough question you had to answer. One of my favorite questions, which I won't ask you tonight, but we can get into that stuff too. But as you know, each week I start with who were you, who are you? So walk us through who is Meg Cologne?
Oh my God. Who was I like in high school?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. No, like
Are you looking at Jake right now? Is Jake giving you like cues off camera? Okay.
Now to watch live. I feel I'm very similar, but also very different. As
Okay.
a lot of people would probably say about their high school self. I feel very outspoken. I still maybe talk too much. It's hard because I'm with the person who I spent high school with, so I feel like my life, goes back to that time. But I feel I'm very similar. I feel like my friends would probably, I don't know if they agree, say the same thing. Maybe I've learned to keep my mouth shut and such, but I do feel like I'm similar. Now I'm a mom, which is crazy. That's really all consuming, and I hate to be that makes being a mom their personality, but it's truly all consuming, which actually has me thinking, talking to a teacher too, which, Kristen's a teacher now.
Yep.
Has me so much respect for teachers now that I have my own children. People willingly spending their time in chaos with kids like that.
Not always. It's not always chaotic.
No, it's mind-blowing. I don't know how Kristen does it. I really don't. I mean, I love my kids and everything, but I can't imagine doing both, I guess. Like, home, doing full mom thing, and then also pouring your heart and your soul into your kids at school, because I'm sure that is how it is when you're a teacher. Those are almost like, for that full year, those are your kids.
Yeah.
And I know I'm a very attached personality, so I would probably get so attached to them and probably have a hard time leaving things at the door, which I'm sure you maybe struggled with.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a mom now. I did go to school. I went to LaSalle.
Yep.
sure. I actually applied as a broadcast journalism major after being the editor-in-chief of the magazine.
Nice.
Switched my major then 2 times, not
Okay.
once, twice. I graduated in public health, and then I worked in community health actually in supplemental instruction with Education Works, which is basically when we work with kids in usually a lower poverty area.
Right.
Just to make sure they're following the curriculum that they're given. If two parents aren't in the home, to make sure that they're doing their schoolwork, or if mom, a lot of the times it was a single parent who had to work shifts, wasn't also able to keep up with the kids. So I worked with that for a long time out of college, and now I'm home with my 2 boys, which wasn't planned. I don't know how much you know, but my first was a NICU baby.
Mm-hmm.
He was born at 30 weeks. And after pushing maternity leave off about 4 times, because by the time he came home from the hospital, my leave was done.
Yeah.
Now I'm home with them both. And it is honestly the most crazy, chaotic, but rewarding chapter of my life. So I'm really proud of it.
Yeah, you should be. I mean, there's a lot. I do know about a lot of your journey to motherhood, and I did know about your first being in the NICU, and I kind of kept the distance. I kind of got my updates through your girlfriends just to make sure that I was being respectful. But obviously, you knew that I was kind of cheering for you from the sidelines. And I think at one point when he was born, I got too excited and wanted to meet him right away. You're like, can we just like pump the brakes? I mean, let me just get settled, and then we'll start to. And I know that from being a dad, like no one wants randos like me coming around for the first baby, but we still need to kind of schedule that. I'd love to meet the boys. I think, I mean, obviously you're born to be a mom. I'm sure you're an amazing mom. I think it's funny too that you talked about teaching. I mean, you have a foot in that door based on what you're talking about with your career. I think you'd be an amazing teacher. I just knowing you the way I do or did, sometimes it takes that parenthood piece to make us even better teachers. And I think there's a pretty unfair fallacy in education, Meg, where it's like if you're not a parent, excuse me, you can't possibly know and be a good teacher or principal. And that actually happened. The woman I replaced at Tatum didn't have children, and over and over again I heard, "Oh, thank God, thank God you're here. You're a dad," and it just wasn't fair. That's not really. It's a false equivalency, right? And it doesn't mean because I'm a dad, I'm a better principal or a better teacher when you have me, but it is different, and it is all consuming. And you're right, you can't turn it off. I apologize to my kids all the time. I mean, I'm still learning how to handle, working with a kid who had to refer to DCP&P. I know they're getting their ass kicked at home. I know something really bad's happening, and then I leave and I come home to these guys, and that's not their life. But I have to turn that off and turn on the dad part of my brain. It's a lot. It is a lot but it's a lot for every field. It's not just education. But you're right. It's kids all day, every day. And I think the hardest part of that 2-brain system is knowing how much better these kids' lives would be if their parents were present, aware, concerned. It's tough. And when I have younger parents or parents like you mentioned who are single parents or just trying to figure themselves out, let alone figure out how to be a parent, I do a lot of parent training. I've never done more parent training than the last couple of years of my career. Now I'm older now, so that makes sense, I guess. But I mean, they're not my kids, so I can't tell you how to parent, but they are my kids. You saw in the book too. I talk about in Karen Dyer's chapter 2. We say my kids all the time in reference to you guys. That's just the way it is. That's who you are for that time. We're with you 7 hours a day, and especially for you guys, that huge momentous time in your life when you got a foot out the door and you're doing everything you can to get into the college you want, and you know these things are going to be changing. And then for you, it's even a little bit more different because you still have Jake, you had back then, and you have this amazing group of girlfriends, many of whom are on, like I said, now. So you still have that in your back pocket. So you are a little bit different that way, and I think it's probably kind of unique for you. And I think the whole stay-at-home mom thing again. What better job is there? I mean, like what's the age difference between the boys?
What's that? Oh, 2. Well, Asher was NICU, so like adjusted age, all that.
Oh yeah.
About 2 years.
Okay.
Asher was an IVF baby, which I've been very public talking about that as well. And then Elliot was just a miracle dream come true. So It is. I feel there is. I talk to my friends about this all the time. I'll probably reference my friends this entire.
You should. They're amazing. They're amazing women for sure.
I talk to them about this all the time. How when I had kind of fallen into stay-at-home motherhood, I did have definitely, which I'm sure a lot of women can relate to, like a loss of identity, um, maybe feeling loss of purpose. Even though I'm doing the most purposeful thing, I
Right.
still almost like a stigma of, oh, you just stay at home, that sort of.
It's terrible. I totally agree.
That's
Yeah.
scary. I now tell my friends, I've never worked this hard as I am in my
Right.
life.
Yeah, you're right.
Sometimes I even, maybe this is too honest, find myself yearning almost for, a 9 to 5, that break, that
A break. Yeah.
kind of, yeah, just the separation, because anyone who's a mother, let alone a stay-at-home mother, will tell you there's no time in, time out. You're
Right.
clock and you're on it Monday through Sunday. I
Yep.
get a.m. I don't sit down maybe till 9. Like,
Right. Yeah.
as I tell to Jake, yes, you are busting your, am I?
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? No one's watching.
You do bust your ass, and
Yeah.
I can appreciate that, but it's also that mental break that you get.
Sure.
Even back to work listening to a podcast.
Yep.
Coming home or talking to adults, which is something that I realized quickly I was missing out on, and my brain just slowly withering away. The like adult conversation that you have, just in the office, I do miss. But I loved, like, there was this account that I follow that basically she empowers women who are taking career pauses or career breaks. And she always says when she talks to other women, she asks them, do you work in or outside of the home? Because I think that's such an important thing. I am busting my ass, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Especially in today's day and age, raising 2 boys, I don't take that job lightly at all. Trying to raise good, respectful humans at the end of the day is.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yeah, and I knew you were going to say that the piece about the adult conversations. I mean, that's something I think we hear all the time with parents. Like when you're just doing goo goo gaga all day, right? It's hard to, like, again, here we go again with the code switching, right? Turn your brain on to adult conversations, and then you have this group of women who are all in different phases of their lives. I think it's really a testament to y'all that you're still so close, even though things aren't the same for all of you. I mean, Julie just moved across the world. I saw that she's on. So, I mean, I know it's such a Julie thing to do. I know. Lindsay told me all about it. And I see that she's on. I mean, you guys know how much I love Julie, so I'm happy for her, and I think she's going to be an amazing journey for her. But, like, that's not at all what your experience is. So
it is. We have steadily been. I got married extremely young. My friends call me a child bride. I agree with. So I, as a child, and some of my friends aren't married now. Some of
right
years later, but we really genuinely have all stayed so close. And I also shout out to my friends that have, with my journey to motherhood and how that took a toll on me. And
sure. Yeah.
I wouldn't have survived it without them.
Yeah. No.
Just amazing people, and I love them.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to dig into the weeds with that. I mean, I do know more than most people watching, and it is an amazing journey to where you are. Part of which I share with IVF. Abby, my oldest, is IVF, and exactly the same thing happened to you. Yep. Abby's IVF, and then my son came along, just like Elliot did for you.
Amazing.
Yeah. So
I know that.
That's so funny. You didn't know that. Yeah. Well, I guess she was older then. So my son is lurking right here off camera eating a donut. So he was not IVF, but it's a journey, and yours was much more difficult than ours was. But I just remember, and this is something that I think this is hot seat-ish, but, like, I remember the emotion I felt through the screen for you and Jake when Asher was born. I'm getting emotional thinking about it now. Like, you deserved it. You worked so hard. You went through so much to get to be a mom, and now you are. So, I mean, how dare anyone say anything about what you choose to do with this time in your life? And my brother and I were raised largely at my grandparents' house. Both my parents worked. My dad had 2 jobs, so we were always with family. And that was a decision that they all made together, in the 70s and 80s. And I would never give that time back with my grandparents, and the time I got with them while my parents were doing everything they could to provide for my brother and I. So Yeah, I mean, I'm just so impressed by you. I'm just so inspired. I'm just so glad I know you. This is one of the things that I think these reconnections on the Hot Seat Live, I kind of knew we would talk about this, but in 2014, when you were a 17-year-old sitting in that chair and sitting in the library working on the newspaper with me, we could have envisioned this was going to happen. So, like I said, I think last week to Mickey and Julie, I don't really care who watches. I mean, I'm glad that it's really kind of taken off, but I just wanted to have this conversation with you, and with Jake, ancillarily. So after that sort of heaviness, I'm not kidding. Whose idea was it?
Oh
I
my
need
God.
because I'm gonna guess Val. Val's the one I have to assume was the ringleader, but see, like E Breezy played it off like she was a good kid, but she could have been part of it. I mean, Julie, who? So now, 11 years later, spill it.
I know you're gonna, oh my goodness, she's just feeding me BS. I don't remember. When I tell you, I just want you to know we are mortified.
Were you though?
You to
Were
know
you?
that this conversation comes up more than it probably should. Fact, the ones that have children, that this video will never
Not be shown.
be shown to our offspring ever. They even mention sometimes like about showing other people because in light now that we watch it, it's hilarious.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
But some people will be like, "Oh, I'm going to show so and so," and I'm like, "You're not showing anyone this video without my permission."
Yeah, you definitely need consent for that.
Yes, exactly. And I don't remember. And as much as you probably hated that it happened, so I cannot believe we did that to you. I just want you to know it haunts us to this day. So if that's any collateral, hopefully,
Yeah.
it haunts us. So.
Yeah, I mean, it really could have costed my career, which is just a small part of my life. If anybody would have found out,
God, it's so
then weeks later, your girl Kristen I guess my phone was unlocked, and she takes a bazillion selfies of herself and whoever was in that class with her. Do you remember that? I had that like little tray thing next to my computer, and you all are giggling, and then I look at my phone, and it's just a bunch of. So anyway, somehow I was able. Maybe it was good that I left. Maybe y'all knew I was leaving. You're like, I don't care what happens to this guy. He's out of here. So he's going to comics with he's a rival.
No, it was so bad. We include. It wasn't even just that. Well, yes, it was the. Jess wants me to clear the air that it was a ring toss game.
Yeah, I see a ring toss. Yeah,
We got answers. Had no business being in there, but
yeah.
it was also, which I don't know if you remember, the footage of the party that we put into
Senior video.
Yeah.
I don't. Oh, it was in that too.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
if you remember it, just forget I said anything.
No, it's starting to come back to me now. Again, it was traumatic that
Oh,
I don't know if I've ever seen one of those things, especially in that context, especially from a bunch of high school girls. Anyway, we should probably move on before we get audited by some sort of important power, FBI. So it's been a long time. Your question that ended up in the book was asking one person one question you wanted the answer to. I remember it really well because, like I said, when people ask me about how the chapters come together or whatever, there are some that just I can't not remember. And there was a lot of entries that didn't make it into the book either because I just didn't feel as strongly about them, or Sarah, my publisher, was like, "No, thank you," which I get. But yours was pretty powerful. Do you remember the sort of the context around what you said? Do you want to talk about that here, or do you want to just skip ahead to the live hot seat?
yeah. It was at that time. I'm actually, in hindsight, shocked, I guess. I was so vulnerable in that
It
moment.
was Meg. It really was. Yeah.
I feel it was almost as if I was like perhaps waiting for someone to ask me something like that
Yeah.
prior to professional therapy and
Sure.
that sort. I imagine it as like a 17-year-old. Yeah, I was almost waiting basically for that question to something to strike a nerve talking about or given a chance, because in my home life I wasn't really talking about it.
Right.
So I did think I do commend myself for being that vulnerable at the time. I probably only did it because I was a 17-year-old, and that inhibition that you have, that you aren't afraid or really of being perceived, which now I am afraid of being perceived as an adult. And
Yeah.
not, it's almost, I care less what people think now, but it's, you know, you're not blurting out childhood trauma when you actual question.
It wasn't even a blurt. It was so, I totally agree. The question found you. We talk about this all the time on the Hot Seat Live and just in conversations about it. How often, no matter what the question, what number you gave, it just ended up being what you needed to have asked. And Mickey talked about last week, you know, somewhere in the book, I talk about having wish someone asked me these questions when I was a kid so I could start talking through things, and not even heavy things, just like adult. Can we talk about something besides the curriculum? Like, there's other things we can talk about, right? But you made a choice that day, like so many others, to share that, knowing, I mean, you were safe, you would be supported. He would never, you know, he would never find out that question and answer happened. Didn't really matter. I know, you know, obviously I had your brother too, so I knew your family dynamic, but you didn't have to say any of that, but you did. And here you are 11 years later, still talking about it and kind of reminiscing, if that's the right word, about it. So it was a really powerful question and answer, and I'm glad it found you. I'm glad you answered the way you did. So let's see if it happens again this week. What number do you want for your Hot Seat Live, Meg?
Is it out of 100?
No, I'm going to pull it up. I think it's like 143.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Are these the same questions that you used?
They're the same questions, but I did have to remove a lot of Sarah Thomas, my editor, publisher, wanted me to remove things that had references to sex or relationship love stuff, just because of the kind of the way the house is. It's an educational house, so I totally get it. But yeah, for the most part, actually, there's 135. They're all the same.
I will do 22.
That's so funny. This is the third time. People love 22. That was Steve Kloon's question. He was the first one to go. Yeah. What?
I'll do 56.
All right, 56. All right, 56 is, what are you old enough for right now, and what are you not old enough for right now? Obviously, that's different at 17, right? Totally different meaning at 17.
Mm-hmm.
But age is a different kind of thing nowadays, right? So old enough for and not old enough for.
It's funny you bring this up, because I was kind of thinking about my age going into this. Because not all of us. We're going to be
30, right? Yeah. Yep.
What am I old enough for? I think I'm old enough to. It's hard. I also feel like, because I'm a mother, like that kind of.
Well, you're old enough to be a mother. I mean, you could start
when
there.
I was a kid, I was like, oh, you're not really older until you have your own children.
Right. Right.
I think I'm old enough to maybe make peace with my past, peace with traumas that have happened to me.
Yep.
To set proper boundaries, and to just enjoy my life. I think I'm old enough for those types of things. I don't know if that's a good answer.
That's a great answer. I mean, you know, there's no bad answers. I was going to just follow up before you do part two with, you had mentioned therapy. Are you still kind of in a therapeutic journey with all the stuff that has happened to you?
Yes, I am therapy's biggest advocate.
Same.
Everyone should be in therapy.
Totally agree.
And afford therapy. If you have access to therapy, you should be in therapy.
Yep, totally agree.
There's that famous quote, I'm sure you've heard, not only to move through things yourself, but there's a quote when I was kind of delving into it in college. Most of us are going to therapy because of the people who refuse to go to therapy.
I saw it. Yep.
And that's
so true.
My therapy journey started, truthfully, and then obviously with everything that then occurred in my life, I sought therapy. And now I feel, as a mother, it's really important for me to seek therapy, because I want to be the best version of myself.
Yep.
My family. It's very grounding for me, and it's always good to have an outside perspective on things that you kind of are living in. It's so hard to differentiate what you're feeling, what's actually occurring.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm a big therapy advocate.
Yeah, I mean, I always half joke, I'll never stop. I don't care how good I think or how much I've figured stuff out. I know, and I talk, to my kids and to Dana all the time just about my growth. I know where I've grown. I know how far I have to go. I couldn't do it. And I've been with the same woman for 15 years. Like, she has changed my life. I don't know what I would do without her. I would never leave her. She can't retire. It's one of those things, right? Like, I don't know how people, I love how you said differentiate. I don't know how people can compartmentalize all the different things in their lives that then coalesce at the same time. And all the people that make up our lives don't necessarily know about the other parts and might not even care. Like, my teachers need something from me, my community members need, my students need something from me, my kid, and it's my job to put all that stuff together, but I can't do that without her. She has been a game. So you're right.
And that's their job. Me and my friends do practice. I feel specifically, Aaron and we are almost each other's therapists, but we often try to practice too, holding space, not completely just venting and dumping our burdens on each other, because your life might be heavy and I might not have the space to talk about these things right now.
Totally agree.
Important to respect that. Not everyone in your life is going to have the space to work through serious things in your life, nor should they.
Yep.
Are obviously therapeutic in itself, and obviously I'm not saying you can't vent to your friends or express life's troubles, because I do that with them all the time, but also holding the space to acknowledge that that's not their job, and everyone is, as we say, going through
yep,
through it, trying to make it to the next day. And if someone is kind of dumping their worries on you, you might not be emotionally available to handle all that. So I feel we're pretty good at practicing asking when we're venting, like, do you want advice, or you just want someone to listen? Or
I know, I love that phrase. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't have the capacity for that right now. And I would never take it to heart if someone didn't have that.
Right.
And why therapy is so important, I feel, because that is that go-to person who solely is there for that specific reason in your life. And I think it's important as an adult, and when everyone has things going on, to have someone to do that too, because I do feel, and I've been in relationships or friendships where the person, you almost feel like you owe it to them to be this,
It's hard. It's so hard.
Yeah. And
it's
consuming. And like I mentioned previously, talking about being a teacher, I feel other people's feelings so deeply, maybe to and it consumes me. It consumes me. I'll be up at night thinking about, and then I can't show up to be present for my life, my kids, my traumas, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
That's why another reason therapy is just so vital.
It's funny because my group of friends are my high school friends. It's the exact same thing as you, right? There's four of us that are really, really tight. Then my college roommate, Mark, is part of that group of five now. But Meg, I'm with you. Like, some of these guys have things that are really heavy, and I will never not listen. But I've learned from you tonight. I've also never said, dude, I can't right now. I really can't be there. I can't be that guy for you, but give me some space and I'll be back on the other side. So that's something I need to work on myself. But when you're that entrenched with high school friends and high school memories and the kind of tightness that you have, it is hard to turn it off, because the response is often like, yeah, what do you mean? I mean, it's been like 30 years. What, you're going to say no now? So I love the idea of boundary setting. I'm not good at it. I'm trying to get better at it, not just in that space, but in my professional life too. So again, we're very similar that way. I'm not surprised that it's coming up here. Anything that you're not old enough for? Retirement?
Old enough for, I don't know how to phrase this properly, but so I feel a lot of times in my life, I am always looking to the next thing, which I feel a lot of us do. But I feel I'm old enough to live the way I would like to live. Sometimes I genuinely still think, oh, I'm not old enough to do that, or I'll do that in a few years. And
right.
But I think I'm old enough to just live the way I want to live. I don't know how else to phrase that, but just the sense of doing things that I want to do, not waiting to reach a certain age, achieve certain things. I really, really do moving forward, especially because we were looking to having kids for so long, and then I feel like, and now I'm like, what are we doing now? Not that my life, but I want to have other things that I look forward to. And, like I mentioned, identity outside of motherhood, which I think is important, and I also want my kids to see, but I'm maybe not old enough to limit myself.
Okay.
What was the question?
That's it. You answered it. Yeah, not old enough to limit yourself. And I think one of the things you stumbled upon there too is like,
once you reach a certain age, you kind of feel like, oh, well, and I know it probably sounds maybe crazy. You're listening to me and you're like, oh, you're a child. I'm sure you out. But I do feel like, even though I'm only 28 now, but I feel like, oh, I'm too old to do that, or this part of my life has passed, so I can't do these things because I'm already 28. I do genuinely find myself saying that about certain things, and I don't want to limit myself. So I'm not old enough in my life. I'm not, at the tail end of life that I should be limiting myself in my dreams, my aspirations, the things that I want to accomplish, which sometimes I feel I do.
Well, I want you to hear me say this. This is completely unsolicited advice, like it's the 2014 again. But one of the best things that you can do for your kids is to show them that you're something besides a mom. Like, wait till they see you do the thing that you love, or wait till they see you and, see you give Jake a kiss on the lips for the first time. They understand what that means, or see you laugh and giggle with your friends, or have a glass of wine with you, whatever it is. They'll see you in such a more composite way. So you'll give yourself the permission to do more of it as you get older, because we want our kids to see us as a certain way, but we are so many things outside of what they know us as. That's the one thing, which is to do everything we can to support and love our kids, everywhere we can. But you're so much more than that. All of us are. So I think that's a great. I'm not surprised. Look, I mean, I invited you on the show for a reason. That was a wonderful answer. God, I just love seeing you and catching up, hearing your voice again after so long, and thinking about your group of girls. I'm so glad they jumped on to hear you tonight. I hope Jake is watching or watches it later, because he did DM me and say this is going to be a fun one. I think the world of you. I'm so happy for you and your family and the way that life has turned out after all that you've been through. And I'm just glad that you were my editor-in-chief and in the hot seat in 2014. So thank you for coming on tonight. As I said, when Meg and I started after the break between the internet sessions, I'll be at Raccoon Tap Room on Sunday in Collingswood, 12 to 3. I used to attend bar there. Discounts for people who buy or have books signed. And then I'll be over at Brown Dog Cafe in Audubon, July 19th from 9 to 12. That's John Gordon's place. He's an Audubon OG. So please come see me if you haven't had a chance yet to have a book signed or have one in your hands. I'll have some hard copies there. Love to see and hear from you guys as much as I can. The book sales are doing really well, thanks to all of you. Next week we'll have on my old pal Sean O'Connor, who was at the signing, and him and his mom sat with Dana and I for quite some time, just kind of talking about life. And Sean knows how much I think of him. So, Meg, thank you so much. Love you guys, all of you, and you all. Look at all this. Look at all the love coming in for your girls. It's so funny, hearts, and we love you too, Meg, and all of you guys. I wish you had a nickname. Wish you had some kind of girl nickname I could sign off with, but. If any of you guys who are all giving Meg the love want to hop on the show, there's always a place for you too. Best guess yet. I don't believe it was a ring toss at all, Jess. So you can keep telling yourself that, but I know what it was. It was not a ring toss. And with that, I'll say goodnight. Thanks, Meg.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye. See y'all. See you later. All right, hot seaters. Thanks for tuning in. Before you go, here's how to stay connected. Follow me on Instagram at Brian_Kulak. Check out more resources on my blog over at briankulak.net. Pick up a copy of The Hot Seat or my other book, Level Up Leadership, both available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And please, if you found value in today's conversation, leave us a rating and a review. It truly helps others discover these stories. Share this episode with someone in your life, hit subscribe, and I'll see you next week for another conversation in The Hot Seat.